That's really how I like to do business and interact with people, is I always like to trust first and then verify. I'm actually usually okay with that. I may not like it, but I will adapt and adjust to it. If someone's going to steal from me, I would rather them steal $40 or $100 and know that that's how much they value my relationship and that's how much they care about me today, rather than find out a few years from now. That level of trust is truly priceless. If there are people that you can truly trust in your life, that's worth more than any physical possessions you may have or you may accumulate, in my humble opinion. Okay, accept it and move on. What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about trust, business partners, and what happens when those things go right, and what happens when those things go wrong. And if you're curious what sparked this, it's actually, recently I stumbled across on social media a meme that was based upon a Spongebob SquarePants set of quotes from one of the episodes. I've never seen the show before, but after reading that quote, I might have to start, because it seems like there's some pretty cool philosophies buried in there, actually. And so the quote, if I remember correctly, the way it goes is SpongeBob asks Patrick, what if I betray your trust? And Patrick responds, it's my decision to trust you. It's your choice to betray me. That's some really powerful shit, in my opinion, because that's really how I like to do business and interact with people, is I always like to trust first and then verify. And so that doesn't mean that I just blindly take everyone's word for what they say, but it means also I'm not assuming that everyone's out to get me. Not everyone's just standing there with dagger ready for my back either. And in fact, again, based upon my personal experiences, most people, even when a conflict does happen in business, it's rare that they set out to screw you over. And I think it's usually important to understand that, but that's not to say that that's true for every individual. There is a subset of humans, they're just they're dicks. And those dicks may set out to screw you. But even then, I prefer to trust first, and often with micro trust, and you slowly build up the trust. And if at some point in time people decide that it's more profitable to screw me over than not, I'm actually usually okay with that. I may not like it, but I will adapt and adjust to it. And I think one of the best ways for me to explain this is an experience I had in university. So my last year at university, I lived with a group of guys. There were 6 of us total living in the house, and I only really knew one of them decently. And like by decently, I meant, you know, we had a couple classes together, we hit it off, he seemed cool, we ended up I ended up agreeing to move into the house with him. And the 4 other guys that lived in that house, I'd probably spent less than an hour or 2 before moving into the house getting to know them. So I didn't know them that well. And I remember one of the first times my parents came to visit me at the house after I'd moved in, they walked into my bedroom and immediately they just kind of take the lay of the land, right? Check out the landscape, and they see on my dresser, I keep my wallet, my keys, and my loose change and any spare cash I had. And at any given point in time, I'm a poor university student, so it's not like I'm rolling in it, but I probably have $100 maybe in miscellaneous change and cash just sitting there. I can remember my parents scolding me saying, oh my goodness, I can't believe you leave that out there tempting someone to take it from you. How irresponsible, how naive, da 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 da. Now, they only had good intentions, but from my perspective, I responded immediately, hey, if someone's going to steal from me, I would rather them steal $40 or $100 and know that that's how much they value my relationship and that's how much they care about me today, rather than find out a few years from now. Because there's always going to be a better opportunity to screw Matt over, because he's going to continue to trust you more and more. And that's pretty much how most relationships work, assuming they don't end, is you continue to trust the person more and more as you gain familiarity. And so for myself, it was a very obvious thing. One, I am kind of lazy, so it was just simple keeping all my loose change, cash, and belongings all there in one easy to grab place. But 2, it really wasn't a big amount of money in the big scheme of things, and I really truly would rather pay to know that someone doesn't trust or respect me and get that out of the way. Now, that was me in university. As I've continued to progress throughout my life, I still live similarly. So when I started house hacking and living with roommates when I got my first property, I still acted in a very similar theme. and I would still leave some valuable possessions out and tempt people, as my parents would call it. But realistically, I don't know, maybe I'm just hardwired different, but I hope a lot of you are hardwired similar to me. I'm not tempted when I see something that doesn't belong to me sitting out there. I'm never like, oh, this could become mine if I just take it. But it just literally doesn't cross my mind that way, I guess. Again, I would love to know, am I the oddball out? Or I suspect among my audience that a lot of us have similar values and perspectives and ethics and morals. So let me know in the comment section, but that's just kind of my humble opinion. And as I continue to do business, lawyers and other long-term business partners of mine will often scold me because, okay, I'm going to have a disclaimer here, guys. You should always get every agreement in writing, and you should probably honestly have a legal professional review every agreement in writing that you do. Okay, now I got that disclaimer out of the way. That's not actually how I act most times, especially when a business is new and it's in its infancy. So do as I say, not as I do. But if you're curious what I do versus say, like I'll often just leap headfirst into a project, into a partnership, into a relationship without like setting all the ground rules and setting out all the intentions and and writing out a firm contract. Now, it would be smart for me to do that, and I suspect over time I may shift and change my perspective on this, but still today that's how I act and behave. And usually the reason that I'm comfortable doing this is I still want to know what that individual's intentions are and what their ethical and moral code looks like. And so I'd rather leap headfirst into a new project. And when you're leaping headfirst into a new project, understand that really all you've got is an idea and maybe some energy. And a lot of people overvalue ideas because execution is actually the hard part.
Do you want to get control of your financial life? Do you want to crush it in real estate with wholesaling? Do you want to join my full-time team of wholesalers like Mike or Shahir? Or what about Tyler? Or Diego? Or what about Amar? Alright, and what do we do, boys?
We make offers, we buy fast, never gonna miss a deal cause we pay cash. Offers, 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 deals, deals, deals. Tell us, Mr. Seller, what price do you feel? Cause we're Southwestern's biggest source of deals. Boom!
So if you guys want to crush it with wholesaling, you need to join my team. And down below, video description, there's all the links you need.
And what their ethical and moral code looks like. And so I'd rather leap headfirst into a new project. And when you're leaping headfirst into a new project, understand that really all you've got is an idea and maybe some energy. And a lot of people overvalue ideas because execution is actually the hard part. So as we continue to execute on this idea or this business plan or this project, then slowly value is going to develop in that entity or project or whatever it is we're working on. As value accumulates there, it becomes more and more tempting for someone to want to come in and say, take advantage. And so for myself, with each stage, we're building trust, but at the same time, each stage, the person's being tempted a little bit more. For myself, there's business partnerships. I'm just going to be very open and honest with you guys. I've had business partnerships and projects fall apart over a few $1,000s. I found that very telling. And again, I was like, okay, like if this is what you value me, my friendship, and even my influence at, I'd rather know today. Because I promise you at some point in time, if you stick with me, you're going to get tempted at 10,000. If you got tempted at 1,000, you're really going to be tempted at 10,000 or 100,000. Again, that's the ecosystem and reality I live in. So there's always more. There's always more abundance. I can always just go out and work and do more and create more value and receive more value in exchange for it. So I've had relationships and partnerships fall apart because someone decided to cut me out of a deal or because they decided to go around my back and save a few $1,000s. Cool. Like I try not really even to have hard feelings in that regards. It's just, I'm like an elephant, really long memory. And then I've had people in business partnerships fall apart again over tens of thousands of dollars. Again, to me, like, for some people on my channel, that may sound like a lot of money, and it is in a way, but also it still actually seems like a cheap exchange to me because there are people in my life that truly, I think, are like blood brothers, like we're bonded for life. And that level of trust is truly priceless. If there are people that you can truly trust in your life, that's worth more than any physical possessions you may have or you may accumulate, in my humble opinion. And I've had, once or twice business partnerships fall apart over hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, based at where I was at that point in my life, those did sting. Those did hurt a little bit. And I'm not particularly happy that those things happened to me. But at the same time, there was always going to be a greater opportunity for them to take more advantage. Because I'm on this marathon shit. There's not a single destination. Like, I'm in this game for life. And so I plan to continue to always level up. That's my game plan, in case anyone's confused or curious about what it looks like. I always plan that next year to be a better version of Matt and to be in a better place. And now there's a lot of different ways you can define a better version and a better place. But trust me, when someone screws me over for $100,000, say in a business transaction, again, don't love it, don't like it, but I can come to accept it because at some point in time, we were going to continue that relationship and they would have had an opportunity to screw me over for more. And so I just need to personally be, okay, accept it and move on. Because again, I'm on my marathon shit, not letting anyone distract me or get in my way because I need to crush it. So that's my perspective when it comes to trust. I'd love to hear what you guys think. And let me know in the comment section down below, have you had people betray your trust in the past? Did that change you? Or did you just kind of overcome it? And how have you dealt with disagreements with business partners in the past? I'd love to hear in the comment section as well. And I think it's just really important that if you can, to try and take that long-term thought process of understanding it's better to have that person buy their way out of your life, even if it's at a cost that currently today feels expensive, because at some point in time, they were probably going to do worse by you. And so it's better to wrap up that relationship and that bad influence early, in my humble opinion. But like I said, I don't think that you guys should just jump headfirst into things like I always do. You should get everything in writing because, one, that's an easier way to make sure that you're managing everyone's expectations. And when you explicitly lay things out, it's at least easier to quickly identify and clearly show when someone has a bad intention. At the same time, as a counterproposal or a counterpoint, I suppose, if the only reason that you're going to follow your word is because it was written down, well, how much meaning does your word really have? So I'd love to just leave you guys with those thoughts, and I'd love to get your feedback in that comment section down below. And I guess for those of you that are SpongeBob SquarePants fans, let me know, which episode should I start with first? Are there some that are really high-level philosophy, or was this just one clip taken out of context that I'm building up and maybe the show isn't worth watching? You guys let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys enjoyed this, if you like these kind of more just open, honest talks, again, what I need from you is for you to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and share this on social media, because I promise you this video is not going viral, but I do think it's got some fire content, or at least I hope you got value from it. Thanks, guys.